Mike Linden back again for another special live stream. We have been talking about doing something like this for quite a while, but we are so excited to finally be able to bring this to you. Just a few housekeeping notes before we get started. Of course, this is the customer support live stream. We've got the team standing by. This is going to be so much fun. But of course, before we get started, you can see all the information there at the bottom of the screen. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media handles. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube as well. And of course, remember on YouTube to subscribe to the channel and click on that notification bell. That way you know whenever we drop a new video, or of course, whenever we go live during something like this. And I might as well add, if you have those notifications on, you can be one of the first to enter the giveaways that we do at every subscriber milestone mark, 70,000, 80, 90, and all the way up to 100. We actually just gave away an iPhone 12 to somebody that entered the giveaway on YouTube. So congratulations to Ricky, our winner. That was awesome. Her son watches our videos every day and has a YouTube channel of his own. It's always incredible to see people getting involved in meteorology. But again, subscribe to the YouTube channel so you have a chance to enter those giveaways. Also, today, of course, is Cyber Monday, and to celebrate, we are having our biggest sale ever on the MyRadar store. If you use the promo code CYBER20, that's all one word, CYBER20, C-Y-B-E-R 20, you will receive 20% off of your entire order. Go to store.myradar.com, and a portion of the proceeds will go to Feeding America, a nonprofit organization in the United States that provides food, medical supplies, and really just a slice of a normal, what is normal, I guess, who knows in 2020, but they show up after natural disasters and help those in need. So a wonderful organization, and a portion of every single t-shirt purchase will go toward Feeding America. Again, Cyber20. We're also giving away some t-shirts during the course of this live stream. So if you have a question for the team, send those questions into us, support@myradar.com. Again, that's support@myradar.com. We've got Michelle standing by, ready to take in your questions. And if you ask us a good question, then we'll actually send you a shirt. Yeah, how about that, right? I mean, just in time for the holidays, get your official MyRadar merch. We will send it right to you. All you have to do is send us a question. There it is, support@myradar.com. We've got the team standing by. Okay, speaking of which, let's bring in the team now. We've got Javon Williams, the customer support supervisor, as well as Jesus Sanchez. He's standing by at the Xbox battle station, if you will. Looks so cool there with the dramatic lighting. If you didn't know, we do have an Xbox version of the app. It also works on the new, I believe it's the Series X, right? I believe so, the Series X, or S, whatever it is, the brand new Xbox that came out a couple of weeks ago. It does work on that as well, but today we're going to show you on the previous generation model of Xbox. So we will come back to Jesus in a little bit, but first let's begin with Javon. Javon is standing by with me here in the studio. And, you know, Javon, we've talked about doing something like this for quite a while. I'm so excited to be able to do it. And what we're going to be able to do is essentially walk people through some of the FAQs, if you will. I'm sure you guys get messages each and every day from people asking some questions. We figured this would be a great way to walk people through some of the cool features of the app and maybe explain some things step by step.
Sure, you know, it's been something I've been wanting to do for a very long time. Some users have some really basic questions, not to say basic as in, oh, it should be easily understood, but things that we can generally make clear for our users, questions that come up all the time. So this is a great opportunity to take care of that.
Absolutely. So let's waste no time and let's jump right in. Let's begin with the map layers. And this is going to be that little icon on the bottom of the screen in the app. The map, let's start with the layers menu then, that's fine. We can start with layers, no big deal. So Javon, let's walk people through it. We got that stack of cards there. One of my favorite features about the app is the fact that it's so customizable. Let me ask you, what are some ways that our users can customize the look of what they're seeing on the radar in the layers menu?
So, you know, with weather being very localized to what's in front of you, what might suit us in Florida may not suit people in, say, the West Coast. So for me personally, I like to have the hurricane tracker enabled.
And this is all, of course, Javon, with the free version of the app, right? This is all included here in MyRadar when you download it from the App Store or Google Play Store.
Yes, there is an upgraded version of the hurricane tracker that'll show you the cone of probability and all that good stuff from the NOAA. But with the free version, you're able to see at a glance some information and also the position of the hurricane. However, for our West Coast users, like I was alluding to earlier, they might be more interested in, say, the wildfires features, which is wholesale free. And here you see on the map, you have the wildfire indicators. And if you tap on any, let's tap on one near Chico, California. It'll show you information that we get from the National Wildlife Coordinator Group. There's a federal organization. And here we don't have a ton of information on this particular one, so let's try out another. Okay, so it'll show you the status, which is, the size, how many acres it's burned through, the date it's been discovered, reported, and actually any updates. And you can also tap on the link from InsaWeb, which is, the National Wildfire Coordination Group that I referred to earlier, to get more direct information, to see their graphs and additional information that we can't just cram into the app. So we give all of that to you, sort of simple at a glance view, as well as the ability to educate yourself even further with more in-depth information. Another feature that a lot of users get a kick out of, and personally I do because it's just great to look at, is the winds feature. This is great for a lot of users who might live in the Midwest where there's a lot of wind activity, where that kind of thing might be important. Also for our users who spend a lot of time near coasts. So let's see if I can get that turned on here.
Layer. You can, of course, adjust to winds at the surface and winds all the way, as I like to say, upstairs. The jet stream winds. So you can get an idea of steering currents, something that's super useful during tropical weather forecasting or really watching any big storm coming across the United States. You'll really see that jet stream as we get into the winter months here. As Javon just pulled it up there, look at that polar jet. That big, almost U shape, that is a trough. Just imagine like on the farm, right? Animals drinking out of a trough. That is an indicative sign of low pressure there. Likely a cold front right at the head of that trough there. But digging in through the Midwest, likely to be an interesting next couple of days. But that jet stream feature on the winds layer, Javon, so cool.
And again, also a free part of the app.
Yeah. So let's take a look, Javon, at another way that people can customize the app there in that layer menu. As you touched on earlier, the watches and warnings that we can turn on and off there, I think that that's super important to talk about, considering that can give people life-saving information. And you have the option to kind of customize what you see, correct?
Absolutely. So, of course, warnings and watches are those nationally disseminated information about what events might be going on in your area. So just in the menu alone, you have the ability to turn on and off watches so that you only get warnings and not necessarily the advisory about things that have come to happen yet. And if you zoom in a little bit here, you can see some of these red splotches here. Those are flood warnings. So let's tap on that and bring that up. All right, so you have one near Charleston, South Carolina. And it shows, flood warning continues on Santee River near Jamestown. Okay, so that's what that looks like. And also we have a cold weather advisory here, a winter storm.
It's that time of year.
Oh, it sure is. And this is actually a fairly new feature since, cold weather events do affect more people than just us, in the South, more severely. We have this information in the app as well. Let's see if we can't find a third one. And also with this, you can customize them even further within the notifications. They're not enabled. Whoop.
Oh, we jumped out of the app there. Before Javon gets back into the app there, let me ask you guys again this question. Those of you that are watching, remember, if you send us an email, support@myradar.com, we will answer your question toward the end of the live stream. And the folks that send us in a good question, we will send you a t-shirt. So that's a pretty good deal. Send us in a question, support@myradar.com. and we will pick a few winners there. Javon, let's talk about now the map type layer.
Sure.
Of course, we actually get a couple of questions about this pretty routinely on social media. I know I've answered quite a few. Our CEO, Andy, has answered many questions on Twitter as well. Let's talk about the map type, because that's kind of where we differentiate a little bit from other apps that are out there. You can not only customize what you see weather-wise on the map, but you can customize that base layer, the map itself. What are some of the ways that our users can customize that look?
Sure. So in the map types menu, you have two different maps you can choose from, flat or globe. And I'll pan out a bit here to show you a bit what that looks like. And also, you can choose between gray, roads, and aerial, depending on, your preference. For some, roads might be a little harder to see, so that stark black and white is a little easier on the eyes. And you also have the aerial map, which is very eye-pleasing because it's almost true to life color, the way that you would sort of see in the news and on other weather sources. And if you zoom in here, yeah, it looks very much like what you would see sort of like in your Google Maps or what have you.
Now, one of my favorite new features that we've added to the map, Javon, kind of goes along with that globe map type there. It's the Orbital Tracking feature. So I know we're kind of double dipping here in both maps and the layers, but I think that especially in the globe view, that this looks really, really cool. So in that Orbital Tracking layer, people can track satellites, the International Space Station, and see exactly where it is at that exact moment in time. This is particularly cool, especially when you're timing it up with some of those rocket launches they're sending astronauts to the International Space Station, so you can see exactly where it is at that moment in time. There you go. I mean, Javon, how cool is that, right?
This is extremely cool. This wasn't something that I thought I wanted personally, but it is an amazing feature. There's a host of different orbital, machines and satellites that you can track. Right now, the default is the ISS, but you can also track TSRI, CloudSat, Terra, Aqua, and see all the different orbits they're following. I know someone asked recently, can we track the new Crew Dragon capsules? And answer is yes. Unfortunately, I don't know the name of the code for that to type it in, but you can also pull that up in the app as well.
Yeah, that's such a neat feature in the sense where, I mean, that circle on the outside, right, is kind of like its field of view, if you will. I mean, it can see quite a bit there, or is it for the folks that are at the ground level that can see it, Javon?
Right. So if you go in here, it'll sort of give you like, this is where the satellite more or less is. And if you are standing, anywhere in Southeast Asia or the Indian Ocean thereabout, if you look up with a microscope, or telescope rather, you can see the satellite ahead.
Yeah, that's so incredibly cool. I mean, that was seemingly what would seem, at least on us here at the office, seemed like a little pet project from. Of course, if you've watched any of our content over the past year, our CEO, Andy, is a humongous fan of everything that's going on in the space community. So to be able to have that kind of feature in there is just so incredibly cool. I love that feature, at least selfishly. Now, one other thing before we move on beyond the maps here, Javon, speaking of space, is you can actually look at the surface of Mars, correct?
Absolutely can. Now, a lot of users come to Mars by mistake, either through thumbing around too quickly in the phone, or, a button gets pressed in their pocket and they end up, not on Earth, which is very surprising. But that is a feature, not a bug. So it'll show you the surface of Mars, just waiting for all the tiles to load in here, as well as the position of certain machines and whatnot on Mars. And if you tap on them, it'll give you some information about the spacecraft. So here we have the Pathfinder that was launched in 1999, and some neat information. It was consists of a lander renamed the Carl Sagan Memorial Station.
I did not know that. I learn something new every day.
And for you Tesla fans, we also have a little fun marker here for Elon Musk's future home.
That's some good real estate. I doubt you're going to find that listing on Zillow or Realtor.com. But yeah, that's such a neat feature there, almost like a little Easter egg kind of within the app. So before we move on, Javon, how do our users then get back to looking at Earth? Because I know that's a question you guys get.
Right, so it's just like any other map, right? When you're done looking at Mars, you can go back to whatever map you like by tapping the grayscale roads or aerial maps, and that'll put you right back on Earth.
Fantastic. Love that. Okay, so now I think we've talked enough about the features here in the app with you, Javon, but now what we want to do is to bring in the third member of the crew, at least right now, and that is Jesus, the resident Xbox expert, and he is, again, standing by in at the Xbox battle station, if you will. Jesus, I mean, it was a great weekend. How was your Thanksgiving weekend? Good? Awesome. So I see a lot of people asking us on social media about some of the features that Javon and I kind of just talked about, but all of these features are available in the Xbox app for the most part as well. I mean, I feel like people out there may not even know that they could be sitting on their couch using a controller and controlling the app. Take us through some of the cool features in the Xbox app.
All right, so here we are with the Xbox One X, and we actually have MyRadar. One of the cool things about MyRadar is as soon as you open it up, you'll see the latest video we have up on our
I
YouTube
see
channel.
a lot of
so
people
right now it's
asking
actually
us on
us,
social media
but if you
about
tap
some
down,
of the features
you
that
can
Javon
open
and I
up the
kind
video
of just
carousel
talked
and
about. But
see
all of these
all of the
features
videos we
are
currently have
available
right now. So
in the Xbox
usually
app
you'll
for the
see
most
one
part
of
as
our
well. I mean, I feel like
meteorologists in the latest forecast, and you can open up and play these videos.
Yeah, and of course we can see the live stream going on kind of right now. It's so neat how this is such a neat experience, different from using it on a tablet or using it on your phone, in the sense that this is a 6 feet kind of experience, if you will, right? I mean, people have the television, you know, about 6 feet away from them when they're sitting down on their couch. So it kind of presents the map and all of the information that you can see in it in a totally different perspective while being very comfortable to our users.
That's really true, Mike. And we like to keep it a more streamlined app on the Xbox for that reason. So we have, by default, we'll have the high def radar enabled. And it offers most of the layers and options within the app on Windows. It actually uses the same app version as the Windows version of the app. And so you can go into the high def, enable and disable the lightning. I know that's a feature a lot of our users ask about, where the location of the lightning layer is. So you can go in there, enable it, change all of the other options as well, the animation speed, opacity, loop length. And we offer a lot of the same, it has a lot of the same layers that Javon actually just went over, such as the hurricanes layer and the earthquakes and wildfires.
Yeah, so in terms of being able to be customizable, I mean, that's kind of where our app really shines, in the sense where there's, you know, we're not just showing you whether or not it's going to be raining or what the conditions look like presently. There's so much extra cool weather information that our users can see on there. Jesus, before we move on here, let's talk about the aviation layer, something that maybe we don't talk about as much as we should, but I feel as though I run into a lot of people, even out and about here where our office is in Florida, where I run into people saying, hey, I love your app. I'm a pilot and I love the aviation features. And that may not be something that we talk about a lot. Let's show that off. I mean, that's something that we can turn on in the Xbox app too.
Yeah, that is true. We actually have some hidden gems within the MyRadar app, which is the aviation layers. This is something a lot, you know, the pilots are always very interested about the weather. So you can actually see the AirMets, SIGMETs, and TFRs, which are several different flight restrictions. So you can see them within the app. For example, there's turbulence right now in this portion of the country. And as well as that, we also offer flight tracking in the aviation submenu down here. you can, if you know the flight ID for a specific flight, you can plug it in, and it'll track its current location and where it's coming from and where it's headed. So those are a couple cool features that I feel separates MyRadar.
Jesus, thanks a bunch for taking us through the app there. It's, again, something that I feel like maybe we don't talk enough about, that there is an Xbox app that people can have that 6-foot experience, sit on the couch, what's on Xbox, Halo and whatnot, play some Halo, check out the weather, and jump back and forth and really have a great time, all from the comfort of their own home right there on their couch. Jesus, thanks so much. We will revisit the Xbox app a little bit later. If you have any questions for Jesus, for myself, for Javon, for anybody on the MyRadar team, get those questions into us, support@myradar.com. You can post your questions as well in the chat, in social, on Facebook, Twitter, on YouTube. We can see all of it. And if you send us an email, that's support@myradar.com with your question, well, we may send you a t-shirt as a big thank you. Now, let's talk with Javon once again. Javon, this is one of my favorite features in the app. I feel as though I think it's a feature that can be so powerful, especially when it comes to weather, and that is the sharing and the photo capabilities in the app. Now, of course, it's one thing to be able to look at a radar and see the rain, see the lightning, see the satellite imagery, but to be able to take a photo of that incoming storm, of the rain, and share it and provide that ground truth, that's a huge, huge deal when it comes to us as meteorologists watching severe weather, and for those people that are ahead of that storm line to be able to see what's coming their way rather than just seeing the radar reflectivity. So let's take the folks through sharing and the photos. We can begin with whichever you want.
Absolutely. So this is a very straightforward feature, and again, you said it's very useful for people on the ground and establishing ground truth between just each other, and also, when working with us, and even as customer support, it's super. It makes it very easy to get information from the user. If they see something a little weird on the ground, then they can just tap. The version I'm using is on the iPad, so the button position is going to differ from app to from device to device. But if you tap the little square with the arrow on it here, it'll sort of prep an animation, and then it'll bring it up.
There you go.
And you choose literally whichever service you want to send it to. If you want to send it through a text, to Facebook, Twitter, what have you. And it's the same process if you want to share a still image, except it's a lot quicker because it doesn't have to chew on all that animated data. And you can also save the image or what have you. And again, if you reach out to us on Facebook or through support@myradar.com about, the temperature was off here, or I saw this weird radar over the weekend, can you give me a bit more information? Having that screenshot or that animated file makes it a lot easier for us to make an understanding of what's going on and give you a little guidance.
It's a great point. I mean, I didn't even think about that from that side of things, but that's why you guys are here, and I'm sure that really helps debugging some of the things that our users may run into. So that's how you share. It's across all of our apps that you're able to share that information. But let's talk about the photos. Of course, right there on the bottom line there, you can see that little camera icon. That is how to take photos. So Javon, how does it work?
Okay, so if you haven't used the photos feature before, it actually comes in two parts. So if you open up the layer menus and then enable photos, you'll actually see these little thumbnails of photos that have been uploaded by other people in the community. And some of these guys have really primo camera skills. Look at this, submitted from Lazarus Foundation MS from Meridian, Mississippi. It was uploaded 5 days ago. 79 people saw it. You can also like and comment on those photos. But as I was saying before, if you've never used it, all you would do is tap on the camera, go through a short registration process, I agree, and then you would just type in your email address. It'll send you a notification email that's good for about, I think it's 12 hours. So you go to the email, click the link, and from there, you're good to go and start posting.
It's, again, such an incredible tool, especially for us meteorologists, Chief Digital Meteorologist Leslie Hudson, myself, as well as meteorologist Stephanie Lauber, to be able to get those photos from our users is such a humongous feature when it comes to being able to verify what is going on the ground. Again, get those questions into us, support@myradar.com. We will take a look at any of those questions if we get them toward the end of the stream. Javon, let's wrap things up here with the settings wheel. And of course, there's a lot of stuff that you can do here in the settings. I mean, not only when it comes to the notifications that you can receive, but I mean, so much more in the settings menu. Is there anything in there that you want to highlight to bring some attention to?
A couple of things. First, we have notifications disabled on this device, unfortunately, just so we don't get any weird pop-ups or anything that might disturb the ambiance and the professionalism of our stream. But you can go into these notification settings to view your rain alerts, set the intensity for the alerts you want to receive. You can also disable all alerts if you really aren't interested in those, if you don't get a lot of rain or what have you where you live. Also, the restore previous purchases button is actually one of my favorite, one of my most touched on features. If your upgrades go away for whatever reason, or you uninstall, reinstall the app, and things aren't where they used to be, just tap that button. It'll chew for a second and get those upgrades back up and running. Beyond that, if it doesn't work for whatever reason, that's when you reach out to us.
Now, something else right there, Javon, that I feel like we've run into as well is right there at the top of the settings menu is how people can change between Celsius and Fahrenheit. So
yes.
I know for a lot of our European app users that's a pretty common question. Here it is. I mean, it's literally as easy as tap, tap. That's it.
Yep. And there you go. Everything's shown here in Celsius.
Good stuff.
And if you go back, so it changes pretty quickly and on the fly.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we've come to that time, Javon, where we are going to give away a T-shirt. You saw it in the background there. It was kind of a little Easter egg there in where Jesus was. It's that purple MyRadar shirt. Some of us on the team wear them. They're incredibly comfortable. I'm not just saying that just because it's our shirt. They're incredibly comfortable. I wear it almost all the time. So we've got a question from John. Big shout out to John for sending this question in to us. Remember, you can ask any of the questions that you have about the app to support@myradar.com. But let's answer John's question now, Javon. Here it is. What is the difference between classic and high-def radar?
Sure. This is a question that we get a lot. So I believe right now we currently have high def set. And if you look closely at it, the colors sort of flow and move in a very eye-appealing way. So some people might find this a little easier on the eye. But if you go to classic, it goes back to that more pixelated view that a lot of people might find less eye-appealing. However, since it is more pixelated, you do get a little more information about particular cells of weather within the radar itself. So it might help for those people who are looking for that really, really granular information. Otherwise, if you want a bit of a broader overview that's kind of pretty to look at, high def is what you want.
Yeah, and for the I guess more serious weather observers out there, folks that want a little more information beyond is it going to rain and when, for those that are tracking severe storms, you actually might find yourself turning on that classic radar to as Javon said, get a more granular view of what's going on, as well as the per station feature that comes in the professional radar pack. So I think that about does it here. I mean, Javon, we've been talking now for about what seems to be half an hour or so. I mean, we could talk all day, of course, about the app. I mean, that's kind of what we do on a daily basis as it is. Let's bring Jesus back in just before we go. Jesus, so when we look at the Xbox app here, I just want to ask you one more question about it. With the Xbox app, what is your favorite feature?
Yeah, of course.
Simple question.
I would say my favorite feature of the Xbox app is the video carousel. So if you tap up on the left thumbstick, you should be able to bring up the video carousel. And the video carousel allows you to see all of the latest videos for MyRadar in the YouTube channel.
With the Xbox app,
so like we were going over earlier, you can see us down there live, and we have all the latest forecast MyRadar Media, the breaking weather, and Star Citizen, everything we like to highlight within. And you can also always tap B and up to be able to get out of that. And if you ever get lost within the MyRadar app, if you tap the share button on the Xbox controller, we have a display that will show you all of the controls for the app as well.
Awesome.
Which helps people get
Jesus,
familiar with the app.
thank you so much for walking us through the Xbox app. We appreciate it very much. And for those of you watching, if you ever ask any questions to the support team, you have got an expert crew here ready to answer your questions. So Jesus, thanks so much, not only for showing off the Xbox app, for being part of the team. Really, really appreciate it. So let's, I guess, round things out here. We've got Javon, myself, and I on camera. If, again, you have any questions for us, get them to us, support@myradar.com. You can ask them in the chat, too. Something I should have touched on here at the top of this broadcast is actually what's coming tomorrow. I should have brought this up at the beginning of the broadcast, but around the same time tomorrow at noon, myself, Chief Digital Meteorologist Leslie Hudson, and meteorologist Stephanie Lauber will be putting a bow on hurricane season. Now, officially, hurricane season is supposed to end tomorrow, but with the way things have been going in 2020, who the heck knows in terms of tropical activity, but we will at least talk about what we know up until that point. So we'll be going live tomorrow, December 1st at noon Eastern. And we are once again looking for some questions. So send them in to us, a little different email address this time, myradarwx@myradar.com. Again, that's myradarwx@myradar.com. You can also send your questions into myself, Leslie, or Stephanie on social media. As you guys know, we're incredibly active there. So get your questions into us, and we will, again, put a bow on hurricane season. We've all kind of spoken to some of the biggest names in the tropical meteorological field, so we are super excited to show that to you guys tomorrow, and that will be across all of our platforms, Facebook, Twitter, as well as on YouTube, in the app as well, tomorrow at noon. And a little bit of a preview here for you. We've got something super cool, and that is coming up on New Year's Eve. Hit it, Matt. How about that for some for some dramatic video? And my gosh, Aaron J-Jack, I mean, kudos to you, sir. Some of that video that you took this year is incredible. So that is coming up on New Year's Eve, where the meteorological team will kind of put a bow on 2020, show you some of the biggest weather events. Of course, Jesus and Javon know all about some of those big weather events, being that they get a lot of traffic on those days where people are reaching out with how to use the app and how to see what is happening in a better way. So I think that about does it for Jesus. For Javon, I have been meteorologist Mike Linden. Again, be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms. We are everywhere, of course, nowadays. We even have a TikTok account floating out there, so follow us there too. And again, I hope you all have had a wonderful Thanksgiving weekend. 1 month to go in 2020, folks. Just hold on one more month here, and then hopefully things will start to improve. But again, from all of us here at the MyRadar team, hope you stay safe, stay dry. We'll catch you in the next one.